Hello everybody. Let's see, we've got Andrea. You're early today. I'm just going to say it's just easier. Dragon and Zanka. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Alright, let me sort all this stuff out first. Music. Let's do music. That one. Okay, that's sorted. And you can hear me? There we go. How's everybody doing? How's the week been? Let me know. I'll just sort this out as well. Okay, there we go. You hear me? That's a good thing. Otherwise it would be a bit weird doing a live and you can't hear me. Right. How's everybody going? And happy solstice to everybody. Not sure what everybody did today. I was actually going to watch Hogfather, and then I realised that I'd only downloaded the second part. So we'll have to do that later in the week, I think. We've had cold week. We've had a hot week here. We've kind of hit that, I think, almost like that the rainy subtropical moment of the year in Johannesburg at the moment. So yeah, it's been a bit horrible here. Work, work, work. Oh yes, I know. Not a bad thing. Keep you busy, keep you out of trouble. I'm trying to think of anything happened this past week. I can't think of anything myself. It's just been getting stuff sorted out, and yeah, end of year rush and whatnot. How's everybody else been? I did have a weird. I woke up Saturday morning and it was like a ton of comments on my videos, and it was like the nutcases came out of the woodwork all of a sudden, and they disappeared again. It's really strange. Jahed, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Anybody do anything for solstice? Brummy, hello, hello. Oh, Andrea said, I think Alistair is asleep. That's okay, let him sleep. We'll have our chat while he sleeps. If anybody is new to the Covenstead, if it's your first time here and you're not sure what's going on, this is just a Covenstead. It's just everybody, all the witches get together. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever kind of questions you've got, just throw it in the chat and we'll discuss it. There's no fixed topics or anything like that. As within, so without. Yes, we decided to dedicate a day of relaxation and just be with one another. That's good. That's very good. Yeah. Your son's coming back. Mine's going away. So, yeah, get a bit of relaxation and rest before You have to start going crazy with the spring season. Lady Capera, hello. I've put up 2 videos on my channel for winter solstice. Cool. That's good. Do you want me to drop the link to your channel in here? Just let me know. Jahed, do you have any experience with Moloch and Quingu? If so, would you mind sharing? I don't. Haven't had any reason. I don't really know Quingu, but I haven't had any reason to work with Moloch. I seem to be very much, when it comes to working with the daemonic, I do tend to kind of stick to the Goetia and I would say Grimorium Verum, but not so much the spirits, more the method. But yeah, I kind of, it's really, but I've stuck to the Goetia for years and years. Andrea, yep, let the grumpy bloke sleep. And Lady Queer said, sure on the link. Okay, let me grab that. Wait, hang on, I should be able to get it here. Go to channel, there we go. As aside from modern egregore, you'll find there is no deity named Moloch, just the name of a ritual, I think. Yeah, probably. I think we're definitely looking at an egregore in those terms. Okay, here is Lady Capera's channel. Anybody wants to go watch? Dragon, is the earth element the best for attracting money and wealth? Not necessarily, no. You basically use all the elements. A lot of people from old Wicca and stuff like that used to assign earth element, and I think that kind of carried forward. But if you think about it nowadays, whereas money, actual physical currency, may have been associated with the earth element because it was physical. It was, I mean, going quite real far back, you were dealing with bartering, you were dealing with gold and etc. And then it became actual physical money, notes, coins, and things like that, but it was still physical money. So we kind of associated that with money, with the earth element. But nowadays it's digital. So, I don't carry cash on me at all. I have cards. And that becomes air element. So I would actually I would work in a multiple fashion here, or multiple way of doing things. So you want to kind of work with the air element to keep money flowing, finances flowing. It's got to come in and it's got to go out. Don't hold it, don't retain it, because otherwise it becomes stagnant and then there's no flow. It needs to flow, and that's where the air also comes in handy. But you also want stability and security. Then you might work with the earth element, for instance. You might work with the fire element in this regard if there are people who owe you money and you need them to pay. You need you need to sort of light a fire under their arse to get them to pay. Am I buffering by any chance? Because my music was. Ooh, Dire Straits, good stuff. And water. I guess there's some ways to actually you could associate it with money and wealth, but not really. There are ways you can do it, but I think those three, mostly air and earth anyway, are the elements you want to work with in regards to that. Oh, Kerry's here. Hello, Kerry, and Stormy's here. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Jahed said, "Do you have a connection, altar, and relationship with all demons you work, or only for your main demons? How important is relationship and loyalty? It puts a limit on capabilities." So the relationships and loyalty are very, very important. The relationship, especially, is very, very important. In my view, there are a lot of practitioners, especially if they're working Solomonic grimoire methods, who don't put any emphasis on relationship at all. But that's almost like an exchange. It's like, you do this for me, I'll give you this. You know, that kind of thing. There's no. It's just it's not the way I like to work with spirits, any spirits. So I like to build relationships. Now, do I have a relationship with each of my demons? I do, yes, but I don't keep an altar for each of them. What you'll find is, over the years, I've worked with them for particular things, and therefore they kind of get added to the family. And I try to keep my family small and tight. You know, I don't like to be spread thin amongst hundreds and hundreds of spirits. Yeah, so over the years, kind of worked relationships, and in that case, when I'm working with or building a relationship with a spirit, then I'll make some kind of altar. In the case of daemons, it was usually in relation to spirit boxes. I've still got a spirit box that I associate with Boone, for example. I'll still work with that one now. And then they got added to the family. So each morning, what I do is I say my good mornings, and I kind of include them all in the good mornings. And then I sit down. I am dedicated to a specific deity, and I sit down and I do my devotional work with that particular deity. So you know they've had all kind of grown into the family sort of thing. That's kind of how it works for me. Um, Happy solstice. Thanks, you too. I hope you had a good day. Um, Stormy, I talked to my cash. Very good idea, actually. I was actually watching somebody, can't remember where it was now. But they were actually saying that something they were taught a long time ago by an old witch was to build a relationship with your money, with your cash. And I totally agree, because treat it like a god. You know, something I was taught long, long, long time ago was to stop saying things like, "Oh, I hate money," because that's the relationship you start to have with cash and money. Is It's a hate relationship, and therefore, why would something you hate want to be in your life? And really got me thinking. And so I changed my entire attitude and outlook and everything else, and you know, went in a completely different direction. So actually, worshipping your money is a really good thing. The same way you would worship a deity. Give offerings, talk to it, you know, tell it you could do with a bit extra because you've got like a little bit extra you need to pay this month, or you really want to buy this thing. Can we get some more money in? You know, when that does happen, thank it. You know, thank it like a deity. It's a really good way to do things. See, the truth is here. Hello, truth. Sorry, I'm peeling stuff off my desk here. It's fidgety. I like these fidgety things. The truth said the kings in the Goetia are fairly evenly split between the elements. Yeah, I don't really. I know it makes sense, but apart from association with the Decans, because I work a particular system that I do in relation to the Goetia spirits with the Decans, I don't really assign them to elements and planets, you know, the way other people have. That's me personally. Andrea, no buffering, but can't hear the music. Yeah, it got stuck. So I can see little blue things going, so I'm assuming you can hear it now. Oh, come on, let's go over there. Lady Claire, Northern Nevada is having a wet, rainy winter solstice. Yeah, that's horrible. We had rain this morning. It was really, really nice. It was hot here, so it was nice to cool it down. Yeah, just a little bit. Andrea, it's stormy. I hope you're nice to it. Yeah, have to be nice to it. Thanks for sharing. It's a pleasure. Light Fighter Zen. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I had put the logo of TikTok on my altar, and I thank it and give it offerings. The next thing you know, I have over 1,000 followers. How did that happen? Because it's an egregore, um, and also because it's a sigil. But in this instance, you're working with the platform as an egregore, and it is. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people, millions of people, who all put in energy into TikTok or into YouTube or whatever it is. So you can actually put the logo of that platform on your altar, give it offerings, talk to it, ask it to help you with the algorithm, all of that stuff. And you are working with or building a relationship with the egregore of that platform. So, why not? It works. That's a real thing. So, yeah, really good thing to do. Andrea, at me, maybe you should remember that when you say I hate rich people, although I know the context you meant, perhaps this might be something to look into. Yeah, I do think that's different though. I don't like rich people because of their attitudes. And I don't want to be a rich person. I want to be comfortable and get by and, be able to buy the things I want, but I definitely don't want to be a rich person because it just comes with a whole lot of bullshit. Um, but yeah, I don't like rich people. They are full of crap. Um, they look down their noses at people. Not all of them. I did know only one very rich person who was still so down to earth. He was absolutely amazing. But yeah, generally they don't like them. Jahed, could you please talk about your experiences with Asmodeus? So I haven't had that many. Again, it's one of those spirits that I have worked with him because I thought I was supposed to. Turns out we just don't really gel that well. But the first encounter I had with him, he came through as a partial possession. He took over my vocal cords, and he just kind of like said, "Okay, guess this body will do." Like I wasn't strong enough for him. Real attitude. Um, and then what you'll find with Asmodeus, I'm not going to say all people will experience this, but a lot of people do, is that when you invoke Asmodeus, you are probably going to feel horny for a very long time. But the thing to remember here is that it's power. It's actually not about the sexuality, about being turned on. It's about the power that is rushing through your system, and it feels the same as being turned on and getting horny. And I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake with Asmodeus being this demon of lust and everything else. Sure, he can definitely help with lustful things, but lust isn't just only associated with sexuality, with sexual love and sex and fucking and everything else. It's lust is associated with money, with desire, and that desire can be for anything. Um, so, when you do feel that power rushing through your system, just take it for what it really is and experience it. Move it around, play with it, see what you can do with it. It is a very interesting experience. It's a very interesting energy, and it definitely falls into sex magic. Again, sex. I'm busy writing a book about sex magic at the moment, which I think is probably a bit different to what everybody else has been writing in the past. It's not just about getting your rocks off. Um, when you're working with Western sex magic, it's about the movement of the energy, the building, creating the container, building the energy, building the power, moving it around the body to different places. And it's not always about release and climax. It's about holding it and directing it into something or somewhere. It's a whole energy system. And I do work with the energy model mostly, so it kind of falls into my wheelhouse. Um, but yeah, it's just a go a bit further into the thinking of what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Um, Light Fighter Zen, thank you for your feedback. Really, it's a pleasure. Andrea True, thank you for clarifying. No problem, no problem. Andrea, lust is something I can live without. Well, this is why I say it's not just about libido and sex. Lust comes in many forms. Dragon, what is the relationship between the goetic demons and God? Which God? I know what you're talking about, but tell me which God first of all, and then we can get into that question. I don't actually know what God you're talking about. You're probably talking about the Christian God, but I could be wrong. So let me know which God you're talking about. Jahed, thank you. Very interesting. Lust in that context reminds me of libido, life force. Yes, well, you see, when we talk about libido, it's usually associated with sex, a person's libido, high or low. It's and it always comes into relationship with do you have a high sex drive or a low sex drive? Um, so yeah, but it is about life force, vitality, as you said, chi, prana, all of that stuff. It's the energy flow through the body, and yeah. Dragon, all right, yeah. God is the Abrahamic Christian. So the Christian God, nothing, absolutely zero, zilch, nothing, because the Christian God is an egregore, which was modern compared to the Goetic daemons. Well, no, I say that we can get into a whole discussion about what the Goetic daemons actually are. I mean, if we consider them to be egregores, then they are probably more modern than the Christian God because it only formed. When was the Ars Goetia written? That was 13th or 5th, probably 15th century actually. Um, So yeah, it depends on your belief again of what the Goetic demons are, and there's a whole discussion we can have with that. Nobody really knows because apart from speaking to them, but because we can't speak to the person who actually worked that particular system. That was a particular magician's grimoire. That was his workbook, his journal. So he worked with these spirits. He was given particular names by the spirits to work with, and that's what he wrote down in his journal. I do think they were probably Jinn. They may have been the spirits from earlier grimoires, like Testament of Solomon and all of that stuff. But he was probably given different names because when we personally work and build relationships with gods, deities, spirits of any kind, we're given a name, a personal name to work with our spirit, and that gets put in our journal. So that's what's happened there. So yeah, if the Goetic demons are older than Christianity, then but I mean it's no relationship anyway. I'm just rambling. Stormy, I'm a widow. I loved being married. He was a good man, descendant of King Charlemagne. It makes me sad knowing I'll never have another like him. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It's good to have a it's good to have a good person in your life. You know, your person, your people. It is very good to have that. Not everybody gets it. Kerry, does the HGA have free will? Oh, that's an interesting question. Do we have free will? Um, I don't think we have free will. Not like we talk about. I'm more of a fated person myself. Does the HGA? I don't know. Do the gods have free will? No, everything's fated. See, this is going to end up being a personal worldview thing, you know. If because I am lean more on the fated side of things, then the spirits I build relationships with are going to also follow suit there. If you personally fall on the more free will side of things, then your spirits are going to be more aligned with that. But the HGA is really you. So it's you and it's not you. Difficult situation there. But in terms of that, then what you believe is probably what your HGA would believe. To go in hand type of thing. Yeah. Not an easy one to answer that. Dragon, what about the God as in the source of all things? Oh, well then the source of all things, we all belong to the source of all things. Some people explain it as soft polytheism, some people explain it as pantheism. You find it a lot with Hindu practices where Brahman is kind of like the big power thing that created everything, and all the gods, all of the people, all the animal spirits and everything, we all are part of that one big source of all things. Um, find it in Hebrew faith, Jewish mysticism, all that stuff. Um, but yeah, in relation to what I call personally, I call the Omnil, the all know thing, then we all have a relationship with that particular force or power because we are it and it is us. So, you know, yeah. Jahed, do you have experience with Shamyaza? And if so, could you talk about it? I have experience with Shamyaza in reference to Shamyaza also being Azazel. And Azazel is very much the Forge God, in my understanding. I did, however, have an experience about a year or two ago where Shamyaza formed part of the Luciferian uh, power suit. I don't know really what to call it. There were four entities that made up the Luciferian aspect, and it was Lucifer, Azazel, Shamyaza, and in this case Belial, but that didn't seem to fit properly, so I'm not sure what that was. But Shamyaza was kind of like the watery aspect of that whole union, um, which also didn't make much sense because, you know, at the time I was working modern demonology, that was Leviathan's realm, and Shamyaza and Leviathan apparently don't have a very good relationship. So it was a bit strange. But yeah, so Shamyaza is often another name for Azazel, the leader of the Watchers or the Grigori. So already it's Azazel for me, the Forge God. And in terms of the Forge God, that comes into relation with Tubal Cain. Some of the mythology goes that when the Watchers came down and they started interacting with humans, Azazel took over the body of Tubal Cain, and Tubal Cain became the avatar of Azazel. And his Tubal Cain's sister, Naama, had relations with then Azazel, and gave birth to Asmodeus. Jinn, half god or half angel, half human. So yeah, there you go. Oh wait, I wonder I'm using so much bandwidth. I've got it on video, not audio. Night Fighter Zen, thank you for making the video about Ronove. I have been working with him this this past weekend. He has really helped me with my communication skills. Good, nice. It's good to have the results. Well, that's the main thing. The True Set Lightbringer, interesting. Ronove interested me a lot when I started this practice a couple of years ago. Excuse me. Andrea, some people have a grumpy, snoring geezer who refuses to cook, clean, or help in the garden. Oh, goodness. I don't know what to do with you. Or him. Dragon, is the HTA an independent entity in its own right that is tied to you through your life? So, you see, the only way you can really answer this is by saying yes and no. The HGA or the personal daimon or the fetch mate or whatever we're calling it is actually assigned to you at birth. When you are born, you have this entity which is assigned to you in regards to your true will and all this. But although it is sometimes considered to be separate from you, it is also of you. It really is your connection between the mundane and divinity. You know, your kind of go-between. So it is part of you, but it's also part of divinity. That's why it's sometimes called the higher self, for instance, or the Neshama. Neshama? Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. Yeah, so it's kind of a tricky one. It's not really of you, but it is you. I consider it to be part of the soul which fragments, and the reason we're here, our main purpose in this realm, in this world, in this on this earth, and everything else, is to bring all of our fragmented soul parts back together and bring them into union, and then we become a whole being. So that's how I view the HGA anyway. Okay, that's a discussion between Truth and Light Fighter Zen. Andrew's going to be right back. Lady Capera, Book of Nod Vibes. Yeah, you see, the interesting thing about the Book of Nod is that you know, it makes up the argument of there were people on the earth before Adam and Eve. That's kind of like the main argument that comes up. And a lot of people can then consider the Garden of Eden to have been a laboratory they were doing experiments in. It's quite possible, actually. But yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say Land of Nod vibes in connection. I mean, that really started with Cain, where Cain left and went to the Land of Nod, and where he met his wife and had a family and everything else, and then eventually Tubal came out of that. But yeah. The truth at me. Have you had any experience working with Lilith, Naama, Agrat, Batmalat, and Aisha? I have. I was actually starting to do a particular working with all four of them that was an entire system, and I got distracted and pulled away. You know how life goes. I do want to get back to that at some stage, but I'm not sure when it's going to be, because my whole practice has changed. So yeah, maybe at some stage I'll just go through the material and make it available to people on Patreon or something like that. Just finish it off, but you know, I'm probably not going to end up working the system too much myself. Dragon, is there an endpoint in the journey of the soul, be it immortal or mortal, where you just cease to exist, or is there a renewal of being and you continue to eternity? I can't really answer that question for you. I don't know. It's one of those big questions that nobody will ever have an answer to. I think we just continue on and on and on. I mean, that has to be based on the idea that we have a pure soul that goes from life to life to life. And I don't believe in the pure soul idea. I believe in the cosmic soup. So, you know, in that case, we just keep going. Eventually, we become what some people call mastermen. And kind of like the ascended masters type of thing. And we become, if we refer this back to Castaneda and the Toltec warrior path, then you become a linear being because you bypass the ego and your awareness is not consumed by the ego and you're put back into the system and recycled type of thing. And in that case, you then become the mastermen, and you still have a function. You know, it's not like you kind of disappear into nothingness. You still have a purpose you continue doing. I don't think we ever end at all. Yeah. The truth that drag. Oh, that's about. It'll be the end of some samsara. Oh yes. Some work with Archangel Metatron for this, but I'm sure that Infernals that can help with spiritual ascension. It also helps. Yeah, but that, you know, you said that's the end of samsara, but that's the end of rebirth. You know, so if you end up being reborn on Earth as a human or as an animal or whatever, what then? You know, the Earth isn't the only place in the cosmos. So where do we go? Where do we carry on to? I don't think it ever ends. I mean, the cosmos is massive. It's endless. It's infinite. You know, so just carries on and on and on and on. Light of High to Zen for me. Paimon sent me to work with Ronave. Oh, I guess this is still a discussion. It's hard to explain. For me too, it starts with Lucifer. He introduced me to King Paimon, and then he introduced me to Ronave. It's hard to explain. Yeah, we all have our own little experiences, our own relation building exercises. The truth, interesting. I feel like I am being pulled in the direction of trying to work with them. I believe King Beleth and Duke Vual pushed me into their direction for help with lunar stuff. Oh, the four sacred prostitutes. They're interesting to work with. You know, one of the things that you might want to just take with you is that they are very much, I would say, very much egregores, especially Lilith. I don't know if you watched Esoterica recently, but the whole idea of what people think Lilith is nowadays in the modern interpretation, it's not. It's got nothing to do with Lilith. Now, at the same time, having said that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you are working with a lesser being. Egregores are very powerful, potent entities. So you just, yeah, I think it's worth taking them individually and examining them. You know, Lilith becomes very much the Dark Mother. Naama is very much the young, frisky, you know, wants to have sex the whole time. Agrat Bat Malat and Aisheth become more of the mother and the grandmother type of aspect. the nurturing entities. So you've got, they all kind of work together, but they all have a different purpose. I see Lady Capera said egregoric cults. Don't think it's got anything to do with cults. We work with egregores like every day. We're all connected to multiple egregores. Yeah, no, I think most of the entities we work with are egregores now. I don't think they are at all connected with the original deities. Dragon, it's just my fear of death comes from a fear of ceasing to exist, permanent end. But there is no end. What you're thinking of there. Sorry, you also said, I believe we continue eternally, but the fear OCD is there. What you're fearing there is the end of your identity as a physical being. This ends. But you don't end. There's no end to you. Because you are all things and everything. I don't know if that makes sense. You just keep going and going and going and going. This is just a physical life. We've got to get beyond the physical life and see the reality of things. This is the illusion. This is the well, yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's something you need to think about. You know, the fear is the physical life that we have, not the fact that we end because there is no end. It's a bit like walking through a house and going from room to room to room. So as you open a door, you walk into the room, and in that room you're a particular identity. And then you will open the door and you go step into the next room, and in that room you're a different identity. But just because the identity ends doesn't mean that you end. You just carry on. You carry on going through the rooms. And the identity as you're going through the rooms, which becomes the I, isn't actually a real thing. You know, it's just something that you people call you, or you call yourself in order for interaction. You know, I'm Lee. I call myself Lee because my parents gave me that name. I can call myself anything I want to. But if I call myself Bob, nobody knows who I am. So people call me Lee because that's they know who that is. So it becomes an interaction thing. But it's not me. It's not my identity. Well, it is, obviously. But we are more than that. That's what I'm trying to say. So just keep digging further and further in. Stormy, I've been told Saturday and Tuesdays are the best days for casting spells, also the waning moon. Remember the ass-killing dogs, etc. I spoke about do resonate with Hecate, but nothing happened to him. Yeah, in that case, because you are trying to do cursing and destructive work, yes, Saturdays and Tuesdays are the best. Saturdays related to Saturn, which is the planet of death. Tuesdays are related to the planet Mars, which is the war god. So, yeah, that's why. And waning moon is for removing things, getting rid of things. So, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't been long, so keep working on it and give it some more time. You know, spells don't always work immediately. They rarely do, actually. You know, you got to give it a fair amount of time and keep working on it, keep pushing the energy into it. Kerry, I dug out my copy of Tarot Revelations from Joseph Campbell and Richard Roberts. Lots of insight about weight and alchemy. I did not know that Campbell knew about the tarot. I didn't know either. I haven't read that much Campbell myself. But yeah. Although it makes sense because he talks about the hero's journey, which is part of the tarot, you know, the major arcana story. So makes sense from that perspective. As makes me think of the great paradox, everything is nothing, vice versa. Yep, absolutely. because we can't have anything if we don't have nothing. Something has to come from nothing. There you go. The truth. Yeah, I agree with that, Lee. I usually find it easiest to connect with Naama, but I have only had limited interactions with them. Yeah, I must say with those four, as I say, they kind of all work together as a unit, but they all bring in different energies and different aspects. So you kind of like need to build a relationship with all of them at the same time, which can be a bit tricky, but you just got to have patience there. Dragon, thanks. It comforts me that we continue on. Yep, pleasure. Jahed, could you please talk about your experiences with Boone and Clornick, also their character and themes? So Boone's one of my favourite spirits. I've worked with Boone for a long time, I still do now. Boone came through for me as an aspect or a facet or a face of Hecate. Kind of showed me the three heads were that are usually depicted in the grimoire itself. Three heads of Boone, which are Old Man, Dragon, and Griffin, I think. They are the three worlds, upper, middle, lower. So it's traversing between the worlds. But yeah, came through as Hecate for me. Lovely. I love Boone. I think Boone has a very, very relaxing energy. Kind of like, no need to worry anymore kind of energy. Clorneck's a bit of a cheeky bastard. Clorneck I worked with when I was getting divorced because I needed extra cash to get me through that. So it's like emergency money. I kind of consider Clorneck to be the one you go to when you need a sudden influx of money. You need that emergency funds. And when I did the original working, I kind of worked the Grimorium Verum pact making method, where you call Skirlin, and then you call Lucifer, and then you call Clorneck, and you make a pact. I did that method, and I asked him what he wanted in return, and he said he wanted my left shoe. I had an old pair of, well, we call them tackies. In UK, you call them trainers. In America, I think might call them pumps. I had an old pair, and the one was like really starting to go through, and he wanted the left foot of these shoes, so gave him that. Bit of a strange character, but got the work done. So I guess that's what matters in the end. Stormy, it's a pleasure. Andrea, back. I was listening, but had to make a cup of tea. Okay. As this is making me miss spirit work. Oh well, some days. You got to do what you got to do at this moment. So then you come back to what it was, and that's actually part of the problem with all of this, is that you have to go through periods where you do particular training, and what happens is you kind of like get into discussions like this, and it's like, oh, they're all talking about this stuff, and I'll like want to go back there, but if I go back there, then I've got to kind of move away from what I'm doing here, and that's part of being disciplined. You've got to stick with the work you're doing now, get through that, and then you can go back to whatever it is, and by the time that comes around, it'll be something else anyway. So yeah. Ahead. Is Mammon the best? Better than Boone and Clorneck for a while? I wouldn't say so, no, not at all. Mammon, I find very difficult to work with. A very forceful type of energy. But Mammon, I find, is more related to businesses, not personal finances. You know, Mammon is the one who will take what you've got as a business and make it into an empire type of thing. We'll build on it, we'll grow it, as long as you follow what he tells you to do. And sometimes that's quite difficult, but a very forceful energy and very high energy as well. But I wouldn't say better than, no, absolutely not. It depends what you want. I like Boone because Boone keeps things flowing. Yeah. Andrea remembers about the shoe. Yeah, I've spoken about that quite a lot because it's one of my funny stories. Jahed, can Mammon cause one to be greedy? Oh yeah, could do, yeah. So you definitely got to keep your head, I mean, it isn't just Mammon, this is a lot of spirits, you've got to keep your head about you. You've got to keep your discipline and everything else, but Mammon is about greed. So he can definitely do that, yeah. Alistair, hello Alistair. Thanks for joining. Thanks for waking up. There we go. Story. Yes, the left shoe has meaning. I wore the name in my left shoe of a nasty co-worker. She transferred far away 3 days later. Yeah, yeah. Foot track magic and stuff is very, very good. Oh, look who's like now. Lady Capera, my working focus currently is developing my psychic mediumship skills. Good. Yeah, it's something we all need to do. You know, keep coming back to as well, and we kind of add each time we come back to a particular foundational skill. We kind of add to it. Dragon, what demon is best in getting bosses or investors to pay up money that they owe you? That I would actually go to Clawneck for. He's got that kind of pushy, cheeky kind of attitude. But a fiery entity like Asmodeus would actually be good for that as well. And Asmodeus does deal with money in particular regard. Yeah, Asmodeus would actually be pretty good for that. But then again, I wouldn't use any spirits for that particular type of work, you know. You've got oils and stuff you can use. You can just use the fire element itself. Mars would be great as well. You know, so you've got all these other options as well, not just daemons. Kerry Lee, you mentioned that Asmodeus promotes power. I've read that he adores luxury. Yeah, yeah. He seems to have bold, expensive tastes, and probably better to be avoided for those of us with impulsive behaviors. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Even addictive, yeah, impulsive and addictive behaviors could lead you down the wrong path because you are going to indulge. Similar with Mammon as well, you know, the greed, the indulgence, and things like that. So, yeah, I would agree with that. Andrea, sorry I hit send before I wrote your name. Okay. Jahed, is it true that Asmodeus also has a wealth aspect? Yeah, yeah. Well, as I was just saying, absolutely. I don't know where this comes from. It's probably a Christian magic thing. Because it really speaks about how he is considered to be the manager of the casinos of hell, or something like that. In that regard, I don't know. Yeah. Really don't know where that comes from, but yeah. But he does, yes. He has a wealth aspect because of the aspects of luxury and lust, desire. lusting after things. So that definitely falls into wealth and prosperity and abundance, all that. Stormy, Mars is my ruler. I was born in a Mars retrograde, so Mars was sleepy at my time I was born. As the main thing about these spirits, in my opinion, is not to get into obsession, and some of them will let you. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But this is why we do our foundational work, our foundational practices, and we train ourselves. We strengthen our egos, and we become masters of our egos. And then, sometimes we kind of fall off the wagon and get led down the wrong road, but that's why we do that. We become disciplined. We become masters of ourselves, and, helps to avoid those things. What is the ego? The ego is the self. It's the you, it's the I. I also used to like the kind of the exercise where it's really kind of a Buddhist exercise where you tell somebody to point to I. Where are you as I? And somebody will go, that's me, I'm here. And no, that's your chest. And then they kind of like point to their head because they think and they're conscious and everything else. No, that's just your head. And then they start thinking about, okay, well then it's my brain. No, that's just your brain. That's not your identity. That's not your ego. That's not I. And they go further and further and further. And then eventually you realize that what we're actually talking about is the space between all things, the nothingness. And there's no identity, there's no I, there's nothing. We are nothing at the end of the day, or no thing, and therefore we are not our ego, but we have ego. We interact, we have identity. Again, coming back to what we talk about ourselves. So our ego is us, our self, and when we talk about things like meditation, we talk about the monkey mind. We kind of like you might be creating a daily practice, for instance, and you kind of wake up a bit grumpy one day, and you say to yourself, "Oh, it's only one day. I'll just, skip it today, do it tomorrow. It's only one day." And then the next day comes along and it's like, "Oh, I missed yesterday. Is it really going to matter that much? Do I skip it again today?" And then a week goes by and you haven't done your practice, And that's the ego. It's the what's it? I had a friend who called it the ugly green monster that rears its ugly green head and tells you to not do things because it's lazy or it's procrastinating or something. And that's kind of like the ego. So we gain mastery over it. Now, if you go into the Eastern philosophies and the Eastern faiths and religions, they have the idea of removing it, of distancing yourself from it, so there is no ego, and therefore you don't have all of those distractions. And it makes things easier to get to where you want to go. In Western magic and witchcraft, we kind of take the opposite approach. We strengthen the ego. And this was actually a lesson I was taught by a Toltec warrior long time ago. And it made perfect sense to me. And that's why whenever somebody from Eastern religions and stuff, a Western person who like practices yoga and stuff and says, you need to remove your ego. No, you strengthen your ego, because if you are doing work where you are venturing into alternate realities, you need an anchor. You need to get yourself back. Because if you don't have an anchor, you don't have a strong anchor to bring yourself back from these alternate realities, you get lost. And you never come back. And therefore you need this strong anchor. So you strengthen your ego. You don't get rid of it. You strengthen your ego, but you also, in that strengthening, you become its master. So it doesn't. It's not a distraction anymore because you have mastery over it, and then you've got this strong anchor that you can keep coming back. How do you strengthen your ego? Discipline. You become its master. And it becomes, and through that it becomes stronger. It's either a case of strengthening it or weakening it. In the approach of weakening it, you are removing it, you're getting rid of it. If you are trying to master it, you are then strengthening it. Any exercises, when you are trying to be disciplined and you keep saying to yourself, I'm just not going to bother today, be disciplined. It's about discipline. It's really what it's about. So just be disciplined. It's what it really boils down to. Sorry, let me go back now. Kerry, Beelzebub is great to work with for self-discipline. I haven't worked with Beelzebub for self-discipline, only money matters, but yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know, actually. I wouldn't say Beelzebub for self-discipline, because Beelzebub also has a slothy kind of aspect about... Was it Beelzebub? No, sorry, I'm thinking Balfagor. Yeah, I don't know. Probably. If it works, it works. There you go. Don't mind me. Alright, going to carry on then. Jahed, do you have experience with Pan, and if so, how did he affect you? I've had a relationship with Pan from almost the beginning. How did he affect me? He's kind of affected my whole life, really. He's my god. Like Hecate is my goddess. They're kind of like always been there. Always pushed me into the directions that I needed to go in. Sometimes I resisted, and I got walloped over the head for doing that, eventually. But yeah, no, Pan's always been there for me. So I can't really say how they affect me, because it's such an integration into my life that, it's like, how does my raising my right hand affect me kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I can't really say, actually. As I call the ego Gollum. It's not a bad name, actually. Andrea, it's an ongoing process. Oh yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's a thing you do for your whole life. It's not something that you kind of like, do an exercise and it's done. But that's practically everything within magic, anyway. Jahed, Cole Young also talks about integrating the shadow into the ego. Yeah, that's got to do with shadow work. We've got all these aspects of ourselves, good and bad. I mean, people kind of say the shadow, and it's this all the negative things about us, and it's not just the negative; it's about positive things as well. But it's all things that we are ashamed of the things that we don't want other people to see, and we don't want to actually think about because we find them shameful. Maybe you've got a big, fat, huge ego in the sense of I am the best person in the world. So that's different ego to what we're talking about as being the self. But maybe you have that kind of like attitude that you are the most amazing person in the world. That's kind of like it's a positive, it's not a negative. But it's something you may feel ashamed of because, it's not something you want to show everybody. But that means that you take all of those things and you learn what they are. You don't ignore them because they are all part of you. Just as much as you might not like them, might not like them. Try and get that out. They're still part of you, and therefore you should work with them. You should integrate them into your wholeness. So yeah. Divs is here. Hello, Divs. Stormy Lee, is it true altars need to face east? No. No. That's only in particular traditions they may want to face them east. You can face it west. You can put it in the center. You can put it on the east side of the room and stand on the east side, which means you're facing west. So therefore, the altar's then facing west. But that's cardinal directions, and yeah, that becomes important in things like ceremonial magic. But yeah, no, doesn't need to face east at all. In fact, if you look into more folk magic, traditional witchcraft, quite often people will talk about putting not necessarily the altar, because you don't really work with an altar in traditional witchcraft. But a lot of people might put the stang in the north. Sometimes they put two stakes which create a doorway into the north. Then you tie down the pole star. All such things. So there's a whole lot of stuff behind that, but yeah, it's altars do not need to face east. There we go. They can face whichever direction you want to work in. So here, can Pan help to get more into the body and instincts as opposed as being too much in the mind? Oh yes. Pan is very much about the physicality of things. About sexual excitement as well, which brings you into your body and your instincts very, very thoroughly. But you've also, no, I was going to say you also need to be careful of that, but that is more mind-based. Is that Pan is also related to literally panic. Yeah, that's kind of like more of a mental aspect, I'd say. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Have you ever performed Liber Reguli, the ritual of the beast from? I haven't. No. Haven't done that one. Don't think I quite got into Thelema as much as you're getting into it. So it's going to be an interesting journey, and I can't wait to hear all about it. I heard interesting things. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Right. That brings us to the end of that chat. Let's see what else we can come up with. Quite a lot of people today. I was expecting it to be quite quiet. I just caught myself making grumpy faces. God, I don't know you people put up with me. Trying to think. Oh, I was going to do announcements last week, and then I forgot I did them right at the end. So let me do them now, so people know what's going on next year. So starting January, I'm going to be doing 1 week here, Covenstead, like we're doing now, and then 1 week on Patreon for the journal tier and higher. That's a $5 tier and higher. And we'll just, on Patreon, we'll get a bit more into methods of working and, kind of like what I've put on the journal tier. Because the journal tier, I kind of add my own explorations. Right, there was the living book, although I didn't finish that. I need to actually get back into that. Oh, there was the Black Book of Obi-Merrow that I did there as well. Busy working, doing the Solomonic Pentacles. But we can get into all of the various more in-depth stuff on Patreon. So it'll be 1 week here, 1 week on Patreon, 1 week here, 1 week on Patreon for the month. Okay. If there's a 5th Sunday in the month, I'll take a break. Or I might do something like spontaneous. I don't know. Then the other thing I'm going to start doing is Zoom workshops. And I'll put them on my website in January, but they'll start in March. I'm going to probably do 2 a month. This is my thinking at the moment anyway. Probably do 2 a month, and the first 2 are going to be about how to create a spirit box, and we'll be calling Nachiel the intelligence of the sun for that. Everybody all at the same time in the workshop. It'll be a practical workshop. You'll have your box and we'll put symbols and decorate it, and then call in the spirit and everything else. And then the next one was sigil work, but it's going to be a bit of an expansion on normal kind of like, get your will sentence, reduce it down to letters, get the letter, activate it, burn it. It's going to be a bit of an extension, a bit more in-depth. I'm still working on that one, so still trying to figure out the direction. But that's going to be the first 2. They'll be in March. So you'll be able to book from January, and I'll do an early bird special for 1 month. And then the next month leading up to the actual workshop will be normal price. So those are the main things in 2026. It's going to be a cool year. But yeah, I can't remember what I did. Actually have a little list of 4 or 6 things I was going to do with the workshops. Let me just find it. While I'm doing that, let me just get to the chat. Story says thank you because I was going to rearrange my whole house to face north or face east. Yeah, we tend to do that. The thing though is, if you are working with a particular tradition, then you're going to be required to do that. But if you're not working with a particular tradition, then there's absolutely no need for it. Dragon, what working is best in Christmas time? I'm sure we actually discussed this last week. I would actually suggest working with Santa Claus in the aspect of being King Jove, Jupiter, abundance, well-being, wealth, happiness and joy. This is Zeus, by the way. I'll actually get the Orphic hymn for Zeus, and you'll understand why. Orphic, can't spell. For Zeus. Stormy said thank you, Lee, and blessed be everyone. It's a pleasure. It sounds like you're going. I'm not sure if you're going. If you are, have a good one. I'll see you next week, hopefully. Dragon, oh yes, I remember now, thanks and sorry for... No, you can ask as many times as you want. Repetition is sometimes a good thing. Alright, so I'm going to read the Orphic hymn. It's to Jupiter, also known as Zeus. O Jove, much honoured, Jove, supremely great, to thee our holy rites we consecrate. Our prayers and expiations, King divine, for all things round thy head exalted shine. The earth is thine, and mountains swelling high, the sea profound, and all within the sky. Saturnian or Cronian King, I'm not sure why it's Saturnian, but anyway, descending from above, magnanimous, commanding, sceptred Jove, all parent, principal, and end of all, whose power almighty shakes this earthly ball. Even nature trembles at thy mighty nod, loud sounding, armed with lightning, thundering God, source of abundance, purifying King, O various formed from all nature's from whom all natures spring. Propitious, hear my prayer. Give blameless health with peace divine and necessary wealth. It's that last bit. That's just Santa Claus, in my opinion. So I work with Santa Claus. Santa Claus has an altar. He's given offerings, and I pray to him every morning with that prayer. So yeah, that's what I do. And I'd say Christmas time, I'm going to be doing this the whole year round, because I want, health and wealth and peace divine all through my life. Why not? I think we could all do with it. Kerry Lee, do you have a copy of Stellus Daemonum? No, I don't. Isn't that a new book? Stellus Daemonum. Order of the Demons. No, I don't. What's this about? Oh, it's bloody expensive as well. Definitely don't. Can't afford that. And the Kindle version's even $46. Kindle's more than the hardcover. That makes no sense. But no, definitely not. Don't have that. As Jupiter, Zeus, and Baal. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, you think of just Jove, the name Jove. I mean, we get jovial, and we all want to be jovial. So, we call the king of joviality into our life. Yes. Andrew said, I think I will join you in that, Lee. Good stuff. I see there's a book called The Millionaire Satanist by Robert Ing. Yeah, yes, we all want to be millionaires. That's when it just becomes a exchange. 5 to 10. Thank you for the live stream, Lee. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. You too. Have a good one. Everybody's leaving before me today. Agara's is jovial. If you insist. I don't work with Agarias, I don't really know. And there's a lot of spirits that are jovial. So, Of course, it's very dramatic. This is the Millionaire Satanist. When a person forgets themselves, they are lost. When they remember, they may yet be free. You gave your all, and they still left you drained, discarded, replaceable. Why do the masses toil and fear and call it duty? Why do they abandon their own survival for false notions of loyalty, love, or labour? Because they have forgotten the self, and this book is the bitter medicine to call it back. God. Well, I suppose if he gets the sales, that's okay. I'm being nasty now. It's quite a good playlist. One of my favourite songs is coming up next by Sean Phillips. Love it. Love that whole second contribution album he brought out. It's brilliant. As Agara scared the fuck out of me, I called upon him one time to help me write more, and I literally couldn't sleep that night. Just ideas over and over. I hate it when that happens. Call for inspiration and it just comes. And it don't stop. Lady Capera, not nasty, just honest. Yeah, I suppose so. I don't think that person would agree with me though. Yeah, the author. Oh, I had somebody in my comments. Right, I wonder if I can find it. No, no, I commented on it, so it's gone now. They said something like, the pictures in the background, these ones, are wicked. It kind of said, um, don't follow this person. He's evil. So I said, yeah, they are quite wicked. I think they're really wicked. Anyway, let me stop. Tell me to stop messing, fiddling. I'll stop fiddling now. Oh, this is a good lineup. Got Sean Phillips, then got PJ Harvey, then Massive Attack, then Mazzy Star, then Kate Bush, then Lou Reed. Oh, yeah. Kind of just sit here and listen to the music. Andrew, I bet they're going to be rich if they're selling the book at that price. Yeah, what? $23. That was the not the what was the one that Kerry was asking about? Stainless Daemonum. That was 46 for the thingy. Yeah, too crazy. Kerry, this year has flown by, Lee. I'm getting older, so I'm not really sure if it's flying or going slower. This year's been a pain in the arse, though. It was actually great the first half of the year. It was fantastic. And then June just hit and everything just went for a board of shit with me. My health went down the drain for like 3 months. Just couldn't get back to normal. Work has just been so slow. So, yeah, I'm doing some serious magic this year to just try and get everything, steer my way through it. God, it's been crazy. I love this guy. Brilliant. So we're just going to take a moment to listen again. Lady Capera, I'm going to be 62 years old in 2 months from now. Goodness. You're like becoming a spring chicken there. As feels like it was March yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. That's pushing it a bit. Mm. I'm trying to think what else has been going on. Don't think anything. Oh, carry out Lady Capera. Are you croning yet? Let's find that a bit of a strange thing to ask. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Oh, here we go. Mimilek, hello. Is there any way to remove a curse, like bad luck curse, general misfortune, brought about most likely by enemies of my mother, but I'm the one paying the price? Cleansings and warding is probably going to be your best bet. You said brought about most likely by, which means you don't know if it's a particular person. Therefore, you haven't got a target. If you haven't got a target, you don't know what working they did. If you do have a target and you know what they did, you can actually mimic it and do everything in reverse to kind of unravel the curse. But in this case, especially if it's bad luck and general misfortune, do cleansing work, put up protection and put up wards. What you can also do is two particular form of wards, which you can create as servitors. One is to absorb all negativity that's sent your way and transform it into something else. And another one is to stand guard, and whenever anything comes at you, it just reflects it back to its source, whatever that source is. Wherever it comes from, just reflect it back. You have to be kind of careful there, because sometimes it could be a random person, it could be a really good friend of yours who's just one day just gets really pissed off with you for something. It happens. And they kind of like just throw this energy out at you for no reason. They don't even know they're doing it, and it bounces back at them. And then it can get a bit icky. So my favorite is to take the energy and transform it into something else that I can then use. Healing, prosperity, whatever it is. So that would be my advice anyway. Yeah, Kerry's 55. I'm feeling like the young one in the room as well. That's good. I like that. Carry on. Here we go. Okay. I'm not going to complain. Good stuff. Right, try that again. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about? Has everybody gone off to their solstice celebrations? Because people in the room has dropped. Cold walkers. Okay. It's quite severe. Okay, are we done for the night? Looks like it. Nobody's got any other questions. I'm just enjoying the music though. Has anyone here read Living Thelema? I have. Very good book. I do like Schumacher, David Schumacher. His writing style and the way he actually presents the actual practice of Thelema in that book was excellent. It was brilliant. Sure, I did a review on it actually. I think. Sure I did. Hold on, I'll go check. Yes, book review. I shall put the link in the chat. Hold on. There you go. Andrea enjoying the music, and I think some of us might have been celebrating a bit early. Been a good chat today, though. Enjoyed it. Lady Capera, I'm reading T. Susan Chang's massive tome called Tarot Deciphered. Cool. You have to let us know what that's like. What am I reading? Oh, I'm reading Richard Kagsinski. If anybody can say that surname, Richard No, wait. Hold on. What? I can't say this name. Kagsinski. There we go. Mind Over Magic. Very good book. It's actually really interesting. He kind of takes these different aspects of magic, like initiation and wearing like ceremonial robes, doing cleansing rites and bathing before doing rituals, all of these things that we do, and applies them to psychology and psychological studies that have been done. And it really is very interesting. I don't agree with everything. I mean, there's more to it than just the psychology, but yeah, no, it really gets into the nitty-gritty. It's very good. It's a very good scholar, really. Lady Capera been vaping since the early AM. Tut tut. I stopped vaping. I stopped smoking everything. I'm a good boy. I can't tell you how much I've been wanting to smoke lately, though. Bloody hell. Alistair, Andrea followed the link and apparently got lost. Is this the link that I just put for the Living Thelema book? Let's just make sure that it actually goes to where it's supposed to go to. Yeah. But yeah, I understand. You know, you go down one rabbit hole and you definitely get lost down another one. It looks like everybody's disappearing to their celebrations. We had 21 people in at one stage, now we got down to 10. So I think, should we call it a night, a day? Oh, Lowton's here now. Hello. I was just saying, shall we go? Should we close today? If you've got any questions you want to just ask quickly. Yeah. But happy solstice. Night Dragon, have a good one. Yeah, if you've got any urgent questions, just pop them in here quickly. I'll give it a minute or two just to make sure they come through. No quick and easy ones. Oh yeah. No, usually the ones you need to get at here at the beginning, so we can really get into the nitty gritty of it. Night, everybody. Night, Zanko. All right. Okay, so we're going to call it a day. Let me put that back over there. Okay. Have a good one. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks for the chat, and we'll see everybody next week.